Hi, I'm Pete, and this is the assembly video for the Very Puzzle Void Truncated Icosidodecahedron, or VTI for short. Now, you're looking at the finished product, so this is what we get when we assemble a puzzle. It comes in a giant bag of parts, and actually the bag is filled with other bags of parts. And so what I did for my puzzle was I poured each individual baggie of parts into a separate container. You could use a muffin tin or something like that. And actually you only need these separate containers, you only need about half of them after you get the initial assembly step, because most of the parts will actually be put together. They're in two pieces. So once we get underway here, I'm going to show you every single step of this assembly, and especially the first layer and getting started. I'm going to spend quite a bit of time going over that. So what I want to encourage you to do is watch as much or as little of this video as you need. Feel free to skip around. You know, this is not school. You don't have to stay here until the end. You just skip around, fast forward, rewind, whatever you need to do. I will put some links in the description so that you can find the major steps in the assembly. So I hope that you'll enjoy the show. So this is a great new puzzle from Very Puzzles. And it comes as a do-it-yourself kit, and when you first get it, there are a lot of parts. And so what I'm going to do is show you my method for assembling this, and I think it won't be quite the ordeal that it might at first seem. So I've already gotten started here. Now you won't need quite this many bins after you've done the first step. So we'll be very quickly getting the number of parts down to a bit more manageable level. Each of the edge and corner pieces comes in two parts. So that's the first step we're going to do, is assemble all of the edge and corner pieces. Now I just want to point something out here. You'll get baggies of, for example, these corners, which looks like that, and this one which looks like that, and they actually look identical, but they're not. When you flip them over, you'll notice that there's a keyway on the bottom of these, and on this one the keyway is flat on that side when you flip it over, and on this one it's flat on that side when you flip it over. So be careful. If you get them mixed up, but you'll still be able to figure it out in a later stage, but you'll just have to do a little bit more sorting as you're assembling. If you can keep them separated, that would be good. So similarly, there are these guitar pick shaped pieces, and if you'll notice, they have the same orientation as the corner, and on this one the keyway is down there, and on the other version of it, the mirror image version, the keyway is down here. So basically, when you assemble the corners, what you do is you put it kind of pointy side up, and you get the corresponding foot, and you push them together, and you sort of squeeze them together, and so that foot is assembled. Now the next step is to put a screw in there. Now I will sort of say that the way I'm putting the screws in for now is I'm just putting the screw in and just until it touches the lip of that's sort of built into the foot. I don't want to tighten it too much. I want to give myself some opportunity to tighten them afterwards if necessary, and I'm not actually sure that it will be necessary. I'd be rather worried about using an electric screwdriver on these, because unless the clutch mechanism is very, very sensitive, it's going to be hard for it to stop just as it touches the this collar right here. So that's the way I'm assembling those. And of course you have to assemble those, and then these two parts will end up being one, and then this bin and the corresponding feet will end up being one. And as you can see, the number of parts will be reduced. The next set of things to assemble are these edges, and you have quite a variety of edges in this puzzle. You have, let me see if I can get them all here, you have 3 different kinds of edges. So I just have names for them that I just made up. This is the narrow fan-shaped edge. You see it's got a bit of a fan shape to it, and it's narrow, which is different from the wide fan-shaped edge. One of the nice things about these pieces is that on the back, the wide fan-shaped edge has 3 posts, and the narrow fan-shaped edge has 2 posts on the back, so you can really tell the difference between them. Even if just looking at them, they kind of look similar. And finally, there's a, I call it the square edge, just because it's square. I know it has a bit of a fan shape, but I'm calling this the square edge. And yet again, Very Puzzle has given us an easy way to identify it, because this has 4 posts. So besides getting the edges, you also get the corresponding feet. So these are the feet for the pieces. So you notice this foot has 2 posts, which means it corresponds to the narrow fan-shaped edge. And if we flip it over, you can see the 2 posts. And so the wide part of this is at the top. So I'm gonna flip the foot, so the wide part is at the top. It's the 2 posts, and I'm just gonna squeeze them together. You really can't get this wrong. And I just squeeze them together fairly tight. I don't think there's any real downside to squeezing those together fairly tight. Okay, so that's assembled one of the narrow fan-shaped edges. Okay, I'll grab and you have to do that for all of them. There's a large fan-shaped edge, so the appropriate feet for that. Here, I'm just going to put these together. So this is the large fan-shaped edge, and it has 3 posts. So I'm going to grab the feet, a bin of feet that has 3 posts, 3 corresponding sockets, I guess you would say. And again, the way to get this right all the time, you really can't put it on backwards, because they're arranged asymmetrically, so it's a really good design for a do-it-yourself kit. But anyway, the large part of the piece goes up, the large part of the foot goes up, and you squeeze them together. It should go together fairly easily, and then you squeeze it together. And what you've created is actually a rail system underneath the piece. Okay. And finally, the square. I'll just put these together now. And yeah, the square edge piece. And again, I'll hold it so that the large part is at the top, and there's the corresponding feet. The square edge piece has 4 posts on the bottom, so you'll find the piece that has 4 sockets, the foot. And again, these pieces, it looks like they're symmetrical. They really aren't. You can hold it so that the large part is up to the top, up, and then it'll go together. It won't go together the other way, because the posts are arranged slightly asymmetrically. They're not the same, so if you flip it over, you won't be able to assemble it. So we squeeze those together. So you can see quite quickly then that everything will be pretty cut down, and you'll only end up with 1 bin of assembled pieces for each of these 5 different pieces that I've shown you. And so that's the first step in the assembly process. Now, one word of warning: you may get a defective piece, a few defective pieces. You may get a defective foot, you may get a defective edge or something like that. Don't worry about it. You don't worry about it, because Very Puzzle anticipated this, and they actually send sent you in those bags, it says 60 pieces on it, but they sent you actually a 10% additional pieces. So you'll have 5 or 6 or 7 pieces in each bag extra. So you'll actually probably end up with pieces left over, even if you get a few defective pieces. So if you find a defective one, just set it aside and don't be concerned about it, because you will have enough pieces. All right, so that's the first step. I'm going to go ahead and put all my pieces together, and then when I come back, I'll show you the what I think is a fairly straightforward assembly of the VTI, the Void Truncated Icosidodecahedron. Well, we're back. We have all of our parts assembled. We have some names for the parts. And now it's time to start putting this together. Now, one of the more challenging steps in this is that very first step of getting the first layer of the puzzle put together. Now, what I've decided to do is we'll start with the 10-sided rail, but we're going to just do that first layer inverted, with the rail inverted, and I think it'll make it a little bit easier. Just to show you what we're going for, now I'm going to show you how to do this, but this is what we're actually going to be doing. We're going to get that first layer put together. So this is what it looks like. I'll do a close-up, and I'm going to go through building of this step by step. But you see we have some of these, this bit is kind of the side of one of the square faces. It has a square in it, it's actually a little rectangle. And then this is part of a hexagonal face that goes there. And you can see we're alternating between squares and hexagons as we go around. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to build up that first layer. One of the advantages I see for this method is that we have a nice clean rail that we built along each of these edges. So we can actually just slide assembled pieces on there rather than having to clip them on as two halves. That's the advantage of this that I see. But it's still, it's going to be a slog. There's no getting around it. But you know what? The end product is going to be really, really worthwhile. Now, just before we get started, one thing I'm going to say is that I'm not using any lube at all to put this together. In my experiments, I found that it really, the pieces slide reasonably well without the lube. I want to avoid putting any lube on the puzzle until I get the stickers on. That's my idea. It's such a shallow cut puzzle that I think if we did need some lube after stickering, it would be straightforward to just put some lube on the rails, or even just maybe disassemble a couple of pieces and put some lube in there. Okay, so that's my thinking on lube. If you want to put some lube on, that's fine. You just have to make sure that you wipe down the surfaces before you sticker. Alright, so this is what we're going for. I'm going to get another one of these rings, and we will get started. I'll zoom in and we'll get started here. Alright, we're back from the assembly of the pieces. We got all the basic edges and corners put together, and now it's time to actually start assembling the VTI. Now, the first thing I'm going to point out, this is the 10-sided track. And the 10-sided track has alternating curvy edges and a little straighter edges. They got a little curve to them, but they're quite a bit straighter. So these curved edges and then straight edges. So when we put pieces on there, we have to make absolutely sure that we're putting the corresponding the piece onto the corresponding edge. Likewise, the 6-sided tracks also, even though they sort of superficially look like it's a regular hexagon, it's actually very subtly different. There's a curvier section and a flatter section. Okay, so we got to be careful that we get these oriented properly, or else your puzzle won't operate well. And then finally, these little tiny square-looking tracks, they are also not square. They're actually little rectangles. They're wider on one side than the other, and we're actually going to put them. The wide side will be kind of facing the big 10-sided track. Okay, so just something to keep in mind, that there are some very subtle differences in the parts, and if you are putting things together and things start to get really tight and not working well, you might want to look for little glitches like one of these rings being off. Now we're going to start our assembly with the track up so that the ridges are facing up. That's the outer face of the puzzle. And again, here's what we're going for. We're going to start putting this this part together, and we'll work all the way around. That'll be the base. So the first thing we'll do then is start with, we can actually start with some of these. Now, the fan-shaped pieces, as I mentioned in my assembly, there's two types of fan-shaped pieces. These bigger fan-shaped pieces are the ones that we want right now. And these bigger fan-shaped pieces go onto this curved part. And you can just slide them on just like that. Now, they may not actually hold on there because there's just the hook part at this point. But once we get the corresponding corners on, then it'll be fine. Okay, so that's the first part. And now we want to put corners on this, and we have to make sure that the corners we put on are the right ones. And you just slide the corners on. And if you get it wrong, this is what it looks like. You'll notice that this line doesn't at all match up with that line. Actually, this one has to go this way. Okay, and it's still not right. So what are we going to do? Well, just put it on the other side for now, since there's no other corner there. And you'll notice now that it lines up perfectly. Okay, so with that in mind, then we'll grab the other corner and put it on there. Okay, and you'll notice that the pointy part of the corner is pointing towards the tip of this, so that's what we want to do on this side. And now we have them right, so you'll see that we have this nice straight line here. Now you might ask me, why didn't I put all those together before I put it on? That's a good question, and it is possible to do that. Unfortunately, for most of the assembly, that's not going to work. It only works in this initial case. I actually thought I could do it that way at one point. So now we have that on. One of the things I need to do here is I need to put this rectangular track in there. Now in this specific case, I can actually just slide it in with all of these pieces. Normally that's not going to work because you'll have other pieces, and you have to have the typical piece will be hooked in by two different other pieces. So it just happened to work here. Now the piece that holds this in, because right now it's going to just flop around, is actually one of these narrow edge pieces, and it holds it in this way. So this is the first one where we're actually going to have to kind of get two pieces hooked together. So I'll show you how to do that. First, you slide the piece in. What we're doing is we're engaging this track here, and now you notice it has to go up and over this square piece. So I could just sort of muscle it in there, and at this stage of the assembly that might work. But what I'll show you is actually one of the the cool things about putting it together this way is that it's actually fairly straightforward now to slide this assembly, this corner out, and I'll show you what that gets. See if I can do it so that I don't block the view. So I'm making sure that this part of the track is lined up with the corresponding slot in the corner. I'm turning it so that the edge of the corner is away from the track, and then I'm going to slide this piece into place and then slide the whole thing back. And what you'll find is that and then I gotta that really stabilizes this hole a little bit. It's still not perfectly stable. It's still flopping around a little bit, but it does stabilize it. Now, yes, you could assemble this whole face off of the rail and then put it on. But like I said, this is a very specific instance where it's the first thing we're putting on. Subsequent ones are not going to be quite so easy. All right, well, we're getting there. Let's take a look at where we are as far as our exemplar piece here. We've just got this little bit. So it shows that we need one of those kind of square pieces now, and we also have to find a way to hook this all into one of the hexagonal rings. Okay, so the hexagonal rings there. Now what we'll need is let's put the square piece and this wide part of the square hooks onto the track. Now as we've been doing, we can actually kind of slide this piece along here, and so we've got it engaged now on this face, but it has to be put up here on this little lip here. Now because the piece doesn't really have doesn't cover that, you can just sort of muscle it in if you wanted to, and it's no problem at this stage. But if you didn't want to do it that way, you could have also I could have also just kind of moved it sideways, hooked it on, and then brought it back. So there's a couple ways to do these in the early stages especially. Now I don't want to get too far ahead here because we have to make sure that this hexagon is also engaged here, and that's the harder part of this. Okay, so I'm going to now we've got the flat part here and a curvier part, so I want to make sure I have the flat part of the hexagon corresponding to the flat part and the curvy corresponding to the curvy edge piece. So how am I going to do this? Well, there's a couple of different ways to do it, but probably I'm just going to sort of clip this in here, and now either I could muscle it in and just kind of snap it in place, or if we don't want to take that kind of chance, I can just move this piece out and then move the track up until it fits into the slot underneath this piece, and then bring them both back in. And I think that is probably the kind of the better way to do it. Now the next thing we want to do then is get another corner on there, and you notice that the corner kind of points away from this piece here, so we want to take a corner that's also pointing away. Now I'm going to sort of test this out to make sure I got the right corner. If I got the wrong one, the lines won't match up. Let's see how I did. You know what? The lines still don't match up. Look at that. I got the wrong corner. No problem at all. I'll just grab a corner from the other bucket here, and we'll just try that, and look at that. Works perfectly. All right. Now there's going to be another little piece we need, which is exactly like this, which is the narrow fan-shaped piece. And now I can hook this in like that. And again, I could just muscle it over the edge, or I could just, over the edge of the track, or I could just move this corner down. So in other words, I'm using the mechanism to get these pieces in place. But not so bad, eh? Okay, well, now let's take a look here and see what our next step's going to be. Well, our next step is going to be a mirror of that, because we're just alternating around. Okay, so we need the wide fan-shaped piece. Whoa, I've lost my wide fan-shaped. Okay, there's my wide fan-shaped piece, and now you see that things get a little more complicated because I have to hook the edge of this into two places. This is not quite so bad because, again, I could just muscle it over if I wanted to. If I didn't want to, I could have just moved this whole assembly up. You got to be careful. I use my offhand to hold the back of these pieces as I'm moving them, because if you don't and you push them and it suddenly slides away from you, it could all just sort of fall apart. Ask me how I know that. So I'm just using my my index finger to keep things from moving too fast out of control. Now we need the square track, the rectangular track. I keep calling it a square track. It's actually rectangular. And you now maybe can see the subtle difference in that this is narrower than this part, which means the narrower part of this track has to go with the narrower part, and the wider one has to go with the wider part. Okay, so now we have to kind of somehow get this all in here, and again, because we aren't assembled that much, we might be able to muscle it in, but if not, then we can certainly make this work. Probably the easiest way at this point. Let's see now. How are we going to do this? Let's see. Yeah, we just probably turn it that way. See this whole ring? Slide this in and then turn that back. Look at that. And you'll see that you have it right because now you have this continuous arc, right? If we had this wrong, then it wouldn't be a smooth curve. It would actually be, there'd be a kind of a step right there. So that's another way that you can quality control your assembly. All right, well, now we need to put a corner in, and I put aside the last corner that I used that wasn't correct because they alternate. So there's a good chance that this one will be correct. So notice the pointy part is pointing towards the tip here. So this pointy part also has to point towards the tip. And let's see if this works. Okay, and indeed it worked. And you'll see that that it forms a perfect line across there. If it doesn't form a line, then you have the wrong corner or the wrong piece or something's wrong. All right, well, how's this working out? So now I want to put another one of the narrow fan shaped pieces in there. And here's my narrow fan shaped piece. And I can get it in here, but the harder part is this track. So I'm just going to push. So what I've done is I've engaged it in the slot in the back of the corner, and I pushed it as far as it'll go. Now, instead of muscling it over, I'll show you the alternate, the one that I like to do, which is just to push the corner down here until it's off the track, and then slide this into place, and then slide the whole assembly back up. And now that's actually pretty solid right now, and we're not having to hold anything together. Now if your puzzle's a little looser, I've squeezed all the pieces together as tight as they'll go. But if you notice that your puzzle's a little looser, there's nothing wrong with using painter's tape to hold things together. This is the blue tape that I use for some of my puzzles. You can use rubber bands, you can use whatever it takes to kind of get things, to hold things together until you get the puzzle going. Okay, so there's no real right or wrong way to do this. I'm able to do it without using an assembly tape or assembly jigs, but other puzzles I have done that. If you use painter's tape, then you don't have residue to clean off afterwards. If you use any other type of tape, you'll be cleaning off gummy residue. So we're now alternating the square faces and the hexagonal faces, square face, and so now it's time for another hexagonal face, which means that I will be getting another hexagonal ring and fitting that in. And what we need is the sort of the paradox, the kind of the square shaped edge piece for the hexagonal part of it. So I want this one to go on here, and I want the wide part to be next to the 10-sided ring. So there's a couple ways to do it, but I like to do it that way. So I'm sliding it into this mechanism, and now I'm just going to slide everything off to the side, push this up, and slide everything down. And that's really, if there was one assembly technique that I'm saying I'm using, that's it. Okay. Now again, we want to make sure we get this hexagonal ring oriented correctly so that the flat part goes with the flatter part and the curvier part goes with the curvier part. So that's how we want this to go. And I'm just going to slide this in here, and I can either muscle this piece over the edge as I've done, or I can just slide some pieces out of the way and use the same technique. So I want to make sure this is all nice and smooth here. It looks good. Looks like we're making some headway here. And so now I want another corner. And I notice that the corner is pointing away from this. This is the pointy part of it. Now, if you're wondering how I tell what the pointy part of it is, if you'll turn it over, you'll notice it's sort of shaped like a spear. tip, right? Or a fig leaf, I guess. But that's what I call the pointier part. It's maybe more obvious when you're actually holding the piece in your hand. So the whole thing goes that way, and that should just kind of slip together, no problem. Again, I have a straight line there. If I don't have a straight line, something's wrong. Now, just to give this a little more stability, I'm going to put another one of the narrow, curvy edge, fan-shaped edge pieces. That's the narrow one, and that goes in there, so that'll give it a little more stability. So I'm going to slide it into the track that way. Oop. Pushed it down. It sort of just snapped into place when I moved the corner, and now this is fairly stable and steady. All right, well, this is going to keep just like this. So let me just keep on going here. Large fan-shaped piece. Oops. There's so many pieces, they're quite a ways away here. So large fan-shaped piece going to go on there. I always like to do the track on the piece first, and then attach it. And I'm going to make sure everything sort of stays assembled together. And now I want to make sure I get this rectangular piece of track in here. Now that's one of the challenges of this, is to make sure you don't get yourself into a situation where you have to put 3 pieces onto a piece of track, because then it's going to be difficult, and you'll probably have to disassemble some things, maybe pull some of the edges apart. Now that's another thing. If you get stuck, you just take a flat braided screwdriver, pop the foot and the edge piece apart, and then you can snap them together onto the track if you really get stuck. So here we are again in a situation where I just have to kind of slip this in, and I don't even think I have to do much, yeah, because there's quite a bit of slack right there. Once I put more pieces on, it'll get more solid, and be a little harder to do that kind of manhandling or woman handling, I guess. I'm not really sure. Anyway, when I talk about muscling it over, I'm not really putting a lot of force. All right, let's see. So this corner is now pointing towards the narrow part of this edge piece. So we want another corner to point in that direction. So I'm just randomly picking one of these. I don't know if I got this right or not. If I don't, it's no big deal. Oh, look at that. Sort of, sometimes you can be good or you can be lucky, and I was lucky there. So what am I going to do? Well, let's put another of the narrow edge shape pieces on there while we're here. And again, it's I could just go around putting this sort of shallow side instead of putting an extra layer on, but I think it's sort of worthwhile to do it that way. So again, I'm pushing it here, and now I could sort of brute force it over there, or I can just move this corner down kind of where it came from, and then push those pieces together and push it up. Now you could say to me, but Pete, why didn't you just put these 2 pieces together and slip it on? And you know what? That's a perfectly valid way of doing it. I like to just kind of do things one step at a time, but you know, that's a perfectly valid way to do it if you can sort of see what pieces you're going to need at first. I'm just doing it one step at a time. I tried all sorts of different ideas where you're doing a whole assembly, but I just found it a little too awkward. Alright, well, we're getting together here. Going to go all the way around, and I think it's safe to say that we have exceeded what we needed to do with our exemplar. We've already gone past the exemplar here. So this is how this whole process is going to unfold. And whoop, okay, so I definitely I manhandled that, or woman handled it, or I did some kind of brute force thing there. And now I need, you know what, I'm taking a corner from the other bin, because I'm pretty sure that this corner came from that bin. I'm not not positive. But let me slip it on now. I gotta be careful before I go too much further. I almost started to make a mistake here, because if I put that on, well, that one might be okay, but I gotta remember that I also need one of those rings here. So there you go, a hexagonal ring. And we've got that. And now if there's not enough slack to kind of, yeah, there is enough slack at this point to pop it over. You can see this part wants to turn already, so fairly, still already fairly functional. Alright, now I'm ready to put this corner on. And is that correct? Yeah, it's a straight line. Alright, I'll put another of my thin, yeah, I can put another one of these ones on. So that's the thin fan-shaped edge. Narrow. Yeah. There we go. And so that looks pretty good. Now we need a wide fan-shaped piece. Way over here. Push it on. And now I'll just go ahead and do the twist and connect kind of method. There we are. So we need a rectangular piece there. Okay, and the wide, so the wide is on the top and the bottom, and the narrow's on the left and the right. And we'll just kind of push all this in here. Let's see, can I just move some of this out of the way? I want to be real careful here. How am I going to do this? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. This whole thing should turn. And let me just kind of... Yeah, it is turning. It's not turning real well. You know, there's not a lot holding it in the right alignment right now. Okay, so I did manage to turn this ring, which means I can put this on here with the wide part and then turn everything back. I think the hard part is getting it to initially turn, because once you have it lined up, then it turns, and then it'll turn back quite easily. So I got that in there. Yeah, pretty good. So let's grab another one of these corners. And the tip is pointing in, so point it in. Uh-oh. Okay, that definitely, well, maybe, who knows. Let's see. I'm going to make sure I got everything lined up. No, that's not right at all. Oh boy, now it's really stuck on there. Alright. So, there we go. That's much better, and you see how much easier that went on. So I'll go ahead and put a narrow fan-shaped piece in there. Oh yeah, I could have put those two together. Yeah, you know, it's just, I'm sure that there's more efficient ways to do it, but this will get you where you need to be, right? I mean, this really will just get this together, and you know, it's a one-time deal. So if I had 100 of these to do it, I'd probably spend more time optimizing it. Whoa. So, and I think there's some websites now out there that are selling these, which is assembled, which is kind of an interesting thing. To me, I mean, it's part of the fun is putting it together, but I can certainly understand if people are having some difficulty putting it together, or just don't have time or whatever. Okay, so the flat part is going to go towards the flatter piece. It's a subtle thing, but hopefully you'll be able to see it. And we can just kind of brute force that together this time. Now I just want to make sure that is quite smooth here. We're still in good shape. Now let's see if I can put this. This probably goes on here, and the way I knew how that went is that this is pointing away. The tip of this corner is pointing away, so that one also points away, and we have a nice straight line here. we need a narrow fan-shaped piece. And I'm going to move this down. Whoop, kind of pop them together and then move it back up. Yeah, so this is, you know, something you're going to do from time to time. I'll put one of these together, and yeah, once you do it, you'll know how to put it together. Get the right. Yeah, some people don't like having to assemble a puzzle, and I understand that. Just want to be able to play with the puzzle. So some people don't like stickering, I know, and that's, again, is something I like doing. It does get tedious with a giant puzzle like this, but I just do a little bit at a time. All right, now things might be getting a little tight here, but I think we're okay. So I'm just going to put this little piece of track in here. Whoa. There we are. And just make sure it's all lined up, because that's the other thing. Okay, now we have to kind of get things going here. I think we'll be okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put the edge piece in first. And that one, so I'm skipping, well, I would normally do the corner right now, but I'm skipping that. Matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, what I'm going to do is put the edge piece and the corner. And that's going to be the wide fan shape piece. And it's going to be so the wide fan shape piece, and then the corner is going to be, I think it's going to go this way. So I'm going to put those together, except that I got this wrong somehow. Oh yeah, okay. And I'm going to make sure that oh boy. Oh, wait. It's not the wide. Okay, what goes there? Oh, it's the narrow. It's the, I'm looking at this and I'm missing this. Oh, all right. Well, you get to see me mess up. And now if you were, okay, let's see. No, it's just alright, so now that I have the right piece here, let's just put these together. So this is the, so I was looking at the alternatings, but I saw that and I this kind of disappeared in my my field of view here. So it's actually a square type edge piece with this sort of a fan shape, but it's got a square on one edge. So that's the one. But you can see that we also need a corner there. So I think that's the one. Yeah, that's the one that goes. So I've actually assembled this together just to make things a little easier. And I'm going to slide this whole mess on here. And the only thing is we have to line this up. Okay, and here's where the sort of the tricky part. I'm just going to turn this out of the way until this little post is exposed, because this piece right here, this track, actually has to line up with the post. And when you do that, you can actually bring this back together and it'll lock that whole mechanism together like that. Done, eh? Now, the one thing I haven't done here is put the other edge pieces in, and there's also another hexagonal track. So I have to go ahead and kind of catch back up there. Now, it might seem kind of difficult to get this all put in, but actually the slot that we need is in this corner here. All we have to do is rotate this corner away a little bit with everything lined up properly. Whoa, okay, I almost lost control of that. And you'll see we exposed the slot. Now I didn't mean to rotate it that much. I was pushing on the wrong part. But once we expose the slot, it's quite straightforward to bring it in. And now I can either muscle this over, or I could just kind of keep going a little bit. So there you go. So now we have this part in, and then we also have to get our hexagonal part in here with everything still assembled. But it shouldn't be too bad, I think, because there's still enough slack that I can just muscle this in. Can I do that? Okay. And if I can't muscle it in, then yeah, I think I can. Yeah, there we go. And then I allowed that to rotate a little bit. Okay. And you'll notice that it's not quite, something isn't quite lined up right, because what have I done here? Oh, okay, it was just this face wasn't right, and I was just looking at this because it really does have to be a kind of a continuous continuous line. I just want to make sure I've got everything correct, because one piece it's wrong here, one track, it might actually, it will kind of go together and just not work well. So I want to be careful. Alright, it looks like I got that. And now we have a little complication, because now I've had that situation where it has to hook into 3 different pieces. And that's one of these narrow edge pieces. So how am I going to do this? Well, I think I might be able to do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hook it in here first. So I'm going to turn this whole thing down. So we have a bit more latitude now. So I've turned this whole thing down. I'm going to hook that in. And I'm actually going to just go ahead and muscle that. Now if I wanted to, I could keep turning it. And now when I turn it back, it actually hooks into everything. It's hooked into this hexagonal track. It's hooked into the corner and into the rectangular track. Okay, so we have the first layer of the VTI assembled, and now it's time to assemble the second layer. Now at one point I thought I was just going to flip this over and then build up, but in looking at it, I see that we would just be looking at the inside of the puzzle, and I think it will make identifying the pieces more difficult. So I'm going to try building it this way, and I guess it means it will be going up like that, or maybe just once it gets to a certain point we'll just flip it over and we'll still be looking at the outside. So I'm going to go and start putting pieces on the outside. Now I took a chunk off of the exemplar that I have, which actually will fit right on there. And I was looking at different ways that I could maybe put even more pieces on here, but we actually can't. But this is just a wide fan-shaped edge piece and 2 corresponding corners all nicely clipped together. And that'll work. You can slip those on there. Shouldn't be any problem to do that. And it gets us a lot. Now the reason we can't put more on there is that we have to be careful that we also get the next 10-sided ring, right, which actually has to go. You'll notice that we have these hexagon, which means that here we also have to have a 10-sided ring. So I'm going to grab a 10-sided ring, and I'm going to look at how that has to be oriented. This is the wide fan-shaped piece, so the most curvy part has to be right there. So that means this has to go in that part. Now the question is, can I just slide that in there right now? I can't, because this piece is blocking it. But if I just kind of twist that out of the way, there we go. And it doesn't have to be much. You just have to open up a little slot there. Then I think I can slip that in there. Yep. Okay, I can slip that in there. And then this slides right back down. Okay. well, that's it. Now that's not really very solid, is it? So let's figure out what I have to put on here. Now this is that situation I told you we were trying to avoid, where I have 3 pieces that all have to be hooked in. But I think at this point there's still enough slack that we might be able to do that. But let's figure out what actually goes there. Well, we have a square, a narrow fan shape, and so we need another squarish piece. Okay. Now, I hope that you can see why I couldn't just include these square pieces on either side of this when I slipped it on there, because really that's going to be kind of tricky, right? I think I can make this work by just kind of pushing this whole assembly off to the side. Whoa. I'll slip this on here, and oh no, it's not going to work because of that. Okay. Alright, well, we tried. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this out here. I have to hook this piece in this way. Whoa. Got to really bring this out. Now, of course, the whole thing I'm avoiding is snapping the 2 halves of that piece together on this track, which is the other possibility. Now, you see I have this issue where I have to hook the back over there, but really it's not. There's enough slack now, I could just do it like that. Wow, this is really starting to get tricky, isn't it? But this method is still working. Okay, but I have this other side to do now, and let's see if I can get away with what I got away with before. So now I have to hook this into the corner here. Okay, it's quite a little turn, isn't it? I got to do a little more to get some clearance. Okay, and now if I wanted to, I could actually move this whole corner out, but I think I just muscle that in. What did we decide we were going to call it? I didn't want to call it man handling or woman handling. I think we wanted to just call it muscling it in there. Okay, so now that ring is pretty solid in there. It's not so bad, but I wouldn't want to put too much pressure on it, so we do have to watch that. And so now I'm just going to keep going. I think I'm going to put a little bit more structure in here. Let's see how. Just sort of try to figure out what the best way to do that is. Whoa. Okay. I'm taking apart the exemplar piece, and there's not much left of it now. So if I put all that in, not so bad. I just want to make sure that we get this. And this is, I still have access to all of that. Okay, not so bad. But remember that another 10-sided ring has to go there. Okay, you know what? I think let's just go with what worked. That's my attitude. What worked before was to just turn this out of the way. And remember, we're looking for the curviest part of this to go into the fan-shaped piece here. Oh boy. And now I can just bring everything back. And there's a little post right there that has to be covered by the corner. Yipes. It's alright, it's working. Okay, well, maybe not. Anyway, I got it now, but it's still pretty floppy, so when we put those square edge pieces in, that'll help a lot. Okay. Now, one thing I can't really sort of muscle through is the side of this piece. It definitely has to be locked into the corresponding corner, so there's not really much I can do about that, but I can the tips of the piece, the edges of the piece, I think I can just sort of snap them over, use a little bit of the flexibility there. Now I want to make sure, you notice there's a little bit of a, or you might notice there's a little bit of a disconnect there, and I just want to make sure that everything's correct. Okay, yeah, I think it's just the way that corner is, just because that's correct. Yeah, I think we're okay. Alright, well, let's just keep going here. So now we're joining up with that hexagonal ring, and we need another one of these pieces. And it's going to go in there. So, how will I do this? Okay, see if I can get that in there. Flip it over and then turn everything back. So that one's in. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, that would be a bit of a tragedy. But you can see, I'm flipping that out. You can see how big this is getting. I'll go around one more layer, and then I'll have to zoom back out. But I just want you to see all the detail here. Alright, so what's next? Well, we can actually put another edge assembly right there. And now I have to actually make one because I've run out of, I've taken apart that. Let's see now. Okay, so that's I need the large fan-shaped pieces. There's a large fan-shaped piece, and then 2 corners. So I'm going to take a corner out of each bucket, and let's see, they point towards the narrow part. So that's wrong, so it's a matter of moving it to the other side, and that means that that should be correct. Look at that. Okay, so now I can just slip this on. Okay, there we are. And now you can see things are starting to get quite stable, and the alignment will be a little better and stuff like that. Just got to make sure that we have every piece in the right place, and just keep double checking. Okay, so what's going to be next? Well, another one of those edge pieces, and has to hook into this. Okay, I'm just going to put this down because I don't want to, I really want to be able to control this, so I'm just going to move it very, very slowly. There we are. And we can put that on there, muscle that over. Whoa, wants to turn. Alright, so we got that. And I gotta be careful that, yeah, so another one of these 10-sided rings is going to go in there, so I have to sort of prepare for that. As a matter of fact, I think, yeah, let's put that 10-sided ring in there before I put the other square edge piece. There's another square edge piece that goes in there, but let's just get this part done. Make it a little easier, I think. Maybe. Maybe not. Can I get this? Yeah, so I gotta go in here. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this part down so that I can, well, maybe not. I don't know if that's really gonna help much. Well, yeah, I guess it helps a little bit. And then when I put it back, I'm just gonna muscle this middle piece over that edge, I think, or maybe not. How will I do this? Okay, so the kind of the ultimate option to fix any little, ooh, sorry about that. Oh, okay, that slipped back in. So the ultimate thing, if you were in a situation where you had to get that together, would be to just take one of these, pry it apart, and just snip it on there, or clip it on there. Yeah, snap it on there. I was meant to say, yeah, so the difference, the cross between snap and clip is snip, which is not really what I want you to do, snipping something on there. Anyway, so that's the sort of the ultimate thing, is to have a few extra pieces that are not assembled, or just to pull them apart. They're fairly easy to pry apart with a wide flat blade screwdriver. I'd use something like that, not a narrow screwdriver, because you might damage things. So there we go. We got this one on, and now I have this. And again, if I really wanted to just save myself some trouble, I could disassemble this and clip it on. But why do that when you could have this kind of fun? And it breaks in your puzzle as you're going. Alright, let's see. So I guess it's just let's just keep going with our what successful strategy. I'm just going to put a screwdriver there, just keep that from tipping over. Okay, so wide fan shaped piece and 2 corners. And I think I learned. Look at that. I remembered which corner went there. Worst case scenario is you get them wrong. You have to just move it to the other side. Okay. And then that all goes up there. Whoa. So, one of the things about watching an assembly video is that you may decide that it's not for you. And that's one of the good reasons to do it. Or you might decide, you know what, that's not so bad at all. And of course, the video you can just keep fast forwarding and rewinding. I guess it's not tape, it's, what is it, video to bits. So there we are. Now, what do I have to do next? I have to put another one of those 10-sided rings in. Track with the curvy part right under there. We've been down this road before. I'm gonna turn this part and then kind of get everything in there that I can, and then turn this ring back. Is it working? There we are. And you know, as we saw before, that ring's not going to be very stable until we get the square edge piece on there. So just to show you what this is going to look like, I'm going to take one of my square edge pieces apart here. And so if you really wanted to do it that way, so the narrow part goes in there, so the narrow part goes in there, and you know, there's still a little bit of you've got to somehow get that the track in there, so it's not quite as it's a little easier, not a lot easier, I guess is what I would say. But once you get that track hooked in there, then this next step will just sort of join everything, and you just kind of line everything up and just snap it on. So that is certainly a possible way of doing it, and then you want to squeeze it as tight as possible. You know, for me, that's, you know, I don't find doing the other part any more difficult, so that's fine. But that's one possibility, is just to kind of snap them together like that. Okay, so what I've done is, and it's because this edge piece has to clip into this corner, so I've exposed there's a little slot. I don't know if I was ever really clear. There's a little slot right there at the edge of the corner, and that's what I'm hooking into, and then I can just kind of pop it up over. There we are. Look at that. Okay, and now that I put those two edges on, that ring's on there pretty well. All right, well, so far so good, and let's just keep going. This seems to be working well, so I'm just going to keep going. I got 2 corners and a large fan-shaped piece, and I think I have this down. I do. So now these will go on there. Okay, so I'd moved everything. You see my track wasn't continuous. Okay, so now that's together. Kind of cool, eh? And then it does actually, it actually turns, no problem. And what else? So I'm going to need another one of those 10-sided rings. I think the last one for this layer. And what did I decide? I think I decided I could probably snap this in there. So I'm just going to get this part out of the way. Now, if you really wanted to, you could get that part out of the way as well by turning it in the other direction. But I think that this probably just is enough. Just making some clearance there. And then I'll turn this part back. Whoa, okay. Push the wrong. Oh. All right. I was just trying to do it with one hand, but I think I'm going to have two hands here. Okay. Look at that. Got it. And again, it's all floppy, but we'll stabilize it very, very quickly. Let's grab a couple of those pieces already assembled, and then we'll just snap those together. So, what did I say? I'm going to do that. Yeah. Just making sure I have it in the right orientation there. Put it in, and let's just do it that way. Why not? Oh, whoops, okay, well, I'm talking about the right orientation. Yeah, I get it wrong sometimes. That's alright. Here we are. And now that ring is there. And, you know, that's a pretty good start on that second layer. Now, I'm going to consider that we probably, I probably want to fill in the rest of these as well to sort of be part of a second layer contingent. But you can sort of see now where really the only thing to fill in is just the last side of this hexagon. And what's it going to be? It's going to be a narrow, and it's going to be two corners, I think. Yeah, that's what it looks like. So let's give that a try. I have a narrow edge piece. I get two corners, and with the narrow edge pieces, the corners, the pointy part points towards the narrow part of the edge piece. So, okay, well, that was just random luck that okay, that wasn't random luck. The piece tried to escape on me here. There we go. The fact that I got those corners the first time was just luck, 50-50 chance. There we go. Okay, so let's put this on now. We got to put the fan-shaped piece towards the inside. So the wide part goes inside here, and then that'll go on. Should go on fairly smoothly if everything gets lined up. Well, that's very nice right there. Okay, and we have the piece that goes there is hooked onto two things. That's okay. We just want to avoid having to hook a piece onto 3 or more things if we don't have to. So that actually looks pretty good. Well, let's just go around and do that then. Okay, so that one doesn't look right. So let's try that. Yeah, that's better. You can really tell when you got them wrong. Okay, so wide piece to the inside. Okay, well that's not so bad. Okay. Okay. And that should just go on there. Yipes. Yeah, and it's really getting quite solid and stable now. All right. let's see, two, yeah, a couple more of those. Okay, I'm just looking at my pile of pieces here. Everything's good. So two more of those, and then alright, see if I can remember how I did this. Yeah, not so bad. Okay, and then this will help make sure that everything's set up properly at this stage, because again, I can't emphasize that enough, but if one of these rings is out, one of the tracks is one step off, it could really make things difficult. Be hard to find. Puzzle won't turn very well. Okay, we got that. And is that it? I think that is it. So you can see how gigantic this puzzle is going to be. At one time I thought I might even put it together in two halves, but I don't think that really there's any real benefit to that. So I'm going to call that the second layer, and then when we go on to the third layer or the next layer, we'll have to fill in these. Now we have to remember that there's some tracks to go in there, but those shouldn't be too difficult to get assembled. Okay, so when we come back, we will continue this third layer, I guess we'll call it, and probably have to zoom out even a little more. Okay, so we're ready to start on the next layer, the third layer, I guess, of the VTI. And what we'll do is fill in these faces right around here. Now, these are the square-shaped faces. They have the rectangular track in there, and then just another set of narrow fan-shaped edges. Actually, there'll be wide fan-shaped edges on either side. So let's see how we'll do that. So here's our rectangular face, and you got to be careful that we get it sort of oriented. You can actually hold it up here if you want to actually look closely, and you can see that the narrow one is the one that corresponds to the two slots in this. So got to be careful. The wide part of it actually is always facing the 10-sided rings, not the hexagons. So it's going to be the narrow side that way. Is one of those little details that could really make a difference. Now what I'm going to try and do is move this whole bit here, hopefully without causing a catastrophic and I'm controlling it really carefully here. So remember, it's the narrow side that goes on there, so I'm just going to slip that in there, and then bring everything back, and then there you go. So it's in there. Now the next thing to do is to get these wide fan-shaped pieces hooked into here and hooked onto the rail. So what I'm going to do is just bring this whole little mechanism over here, and hopefully that'll work. I can slip that on there a little more and then just muscle the piece over top, and that seems to work fairly well. Okay, so we got that, and now we'll just do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so I'm hooking the edge of this fan-shaped piece into the corner. A little more, just got to have some clearance there, and then I'm hooking this little lip over top. Now if I couldn't quite do that part, and there are some other, you could actually just move everything back into place and then move this corner out, but I think that's going to work. Okay, that one was just a little more challenging, but not too bad. Okay, and there you go. Okay, so that one's done, and you can sort of see how that's gonna look on that side. And we just keep going and do this whole thing. Every time we have one of these narrow hexagon fan shaped piece on a hexagon edge, we have to put in a little track, rectangular track, 2 of the large fan shaped pieces. Okay. Okay, we don't need a lot of room, and it's the narrow side of the track that goes that way. Okay, and now we can just move that in there. So you can sort of see that if you do this a while, you probably, it won't be quite so awkward, and it won't be so mysterious. But of course, we probably only, most of us will probably only build one of these. But who knows? Maybe if you like building these, you can start building them for other people. There you go. There's fan shape. Yeah, that's one of those things. I don't know if there's too many building services. I did see that one website that was selling assembled ones, and you can now maybe you can see why they charge what they do. It's probably, I think it doubles the price or something close to doubling the price. Okay. There's a lot of labor that goes into putting one of these together, because it's not just a matter of paying someone to put them together, but also training that person. That's, you can't just give them a pile of parts and say, there you go. Got to make sure they know how to do it. Okay, so that one's done, and we got this one here. Put that one together. Whoa, I turned this one. Alright, we got that in. And now I'm going to bring that up here. Okay, well, so far I haven't had any real... This part's been pretty straightforward. Now, if you did have some problems, another way to do that would be maybe to loosen these, like not take them completely apart, but just to pry them apart a little bit. That might give you a little bit more clearance, and then you could squeeze them together. I have mine all squeezed together as tight as they will go, and I think that's going to be the answer for this puzzle. So far, I'm feeling confident that that's the right way to assemble them. I have the corners where the screw just touches the collar, just touches it, no harder, because it's very easy to strip those screws. I'd rather have to go back and tighten them if necessary, but I don't think I'll have to. But if I did, that's okay. I just rather that than stripping a lot of those. Now they give you some extra parts here. You probably noticed that, and that's sort of part of the deal, right? They want everyone to have enough parts. They don't want to have to send any more in. And okay, I don't know what I just did there, but okay, there we go. The little rectangle fell right out, so who knows? Maybe I could be putting it in this way as well. That's another possibility, but. Yeah, once I find a way that works, I just go with that. Yeah, so they give you extra parts, which is kind of nice. I know early on with the classical tut mix, I actually broke a corner stock trying to adjust it. And Leslie Lee, I emailed him and said, can I get some spare parts? And he sent me a package of spare parts. And I don't know if I had to pay postage or what, but if I did, it wasn't much. I don't don't even remember paying for that. But yeah, it was just a nice thing that they did for me. Okay, so how are we doing? I think, you know what? We're done here. This layer, I mean. So now, I think, and you notice here, we have this kind of step. So I want to make sure that I got that right. Yeah, it looks like I got it right. I think it's just some, maybe this whole ring is out a little bit or something. I just want to make sure. Okay, so it must be this. There you go. Okay, so this is just turned just ever so slightly, and now you can see it's a sort of a continuous ring. Well, so what goes on there are these pieces, right? They'll go on there. However, we got to remember that on the other side of this, there'll be a hexagonal ring. Okay, track. So I think it's okay though. So let's put together a narrow fan-shaped piece and 2 corners and slip it on there and see what happens. I guess we're going to call this layer, we'll call it layer 4. I'm not really sure. I think I've lost track now. Okay, so a narrow fan-shaped piece and 2 corners. Now let's take a look. The corners point towards the narrow edge, narrow part of the edge. So, and there you go. You know what? Nothing really mysterious about it. I keep drying the parts until they fit. So now, we're going to slip that in there. We have the track. We want to make sure that that track is there. And that wasn't really a very complicated part of it. But we have to remember now that there will be a... there we go. That we have to put a hexagonal ring in there. I think that just for the sake of this assembly, I think I'm going to keep going around there and do the rest of those. That was a fairly straightforward thing. Now, if you wanted to, you know, take a break or whatever and just put a bunch of these together, that might be efficient. You know, maybe if you have someone there, you know, you could someone to help you with this. They could be putting the parts together and serving them up to you. That's, you know, there's all sorts of ways to do this. You know, now I understand that some of the clubs, some of the puzzle buying clubs will also get together in assemblies as a team, which is kind of a cool thing. I think most of us probably don't have a lot of puzzle people around us. I know I don't. There's a lot of interest in puzzling, and whenever I get my puzzles out, people always want to see them, but not real big puzzle, especially this type of puzzle, which I think probably classified as pretty exotic. Okay, alright. So, I haven't had too many new puzzles. This one, of course, but this one, these kits, this plus the new Tutminks, showed up just about 3 weeks before the end of my first semester at a new school. And let me tell you, that was probably the worst possible timing of any puzzle in history for me, because it was chaos the last few weeks. It was just very, very, very busy. I just want to make sure, you know what, that just, you see how it's subtle, but you notice it's not a straight line. I got those backwards, so that's and that's the sort of thing that, okay, I'm trying to hook them together here. Yeah, so it's been pretty tough last few weeks. Just really busy with a lot of things. That sort of everything that you put off to the end of the year gets you have to do it, and you have your deadlines. And then we had a lot of some unexpected things happen. So, but anyway, got through it, and so there we go. I've got all of these done. So I said that we have to put a hexagonal ring here, Now let's take a look at how this is going to go. Remember that the we have these square kind of pieces, and we have the curvy pieces. Well, this is a curvy piece, so the curvy part of this ring has to go next to that, which means there'll be a square piece right there, which makes perfect sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this whole big assembly. Oh boy, I hope I don't wreck anything here, but I think this will be okay. Turn that whole. You see, I've turned this whole face, and I'm going to slip in the curvy part of that, and then I'm going to turn everything back. Okay, that worked. I tried to do that with one hand before and it didn't work. Now that's pretty floppy, but it's okay. We'll get the the square piece to go in there. Let's grab one. Actually, I know I'm going to need two, so I'm just grabbing two. So the curvy part of the square piece always goes to the 10-sided ring, and the square part of the square piece goes in there. So that's the correct way for it to go in. How can I slip all this in? I'm just gonna turn this out. Okay, this is really almost like solving a puzzle, isn't it? I mean, really. Okay, so I can put. Oh boy. Wow. All right, there we go. Now that one's there. And I'm going to slip this in here, and then I'm going to just kind of, well, there's a couple ways to do this. I'm just going to snap this over. Yeah, that's enough. Okay. This is all still pretty floppy right now, but I think we're okay. Yep. So yeah, so that's the thing about having time to do puzzling. The winter time is usually pretty good for me. You know, I'm outside during the days, but the evenings not so much. Okay, so I got that in. I got that ring in. Pretty good. That's stable enough. I think we can move on and just do the same thing for the rest of them here. Yeah, so in the winter time it's not so bad. Now the spring, of course, I'm outside longer. And but of course, right at the end of the school year, it's like I'm pretty busy. Let's see if I can get that. What happened before when the ring kind of fell right out? Okay, well now it's not falling out. I don't know what the. I don't. Okay, well maybe it was just that particular one. So I'm gonna do the whole moving the 10-sided face again. This is just, isn't this an incredible puzzle? I can't believe we have such a thing. And what's next? I mean, really, this is going to be so fun to solve. I love those void tut minks, and the tut minks they kept me going for a long time. I was making videos, and so it'll be nice to have some more time to do that. And I think I've mentioned this before. These last 2 school years, but particularly this year, being at a new school, it just makes you really, really busy. Because everything's new. Courses I'm teaching, and everything's just got to be done from scratch. So, and even if you're not actually busy in terms of having work to do, it sort of takes up quite a bit of mental energy, and it's hard to come home and so you try and solve a puzzle or something like that. Okay, so I got that whole thing, and that went without too much trouble. So let's try that trick again. So, and I'm sure it's like that for anybody who's either doing a new job or in school taking classes. It just we get to have periods where we don't really want to work on puzzles or anything intellectual. I usually take a couple of courses myself, online courses during the year, and I haven't done that this year, and that's okay. You gotta take care of your own mental health, your own physical health, and sometimes you just want to play video games, mindless. Okay, so that we need 2 of those square pieces. Yeah, so for example, whoops, okay, I grabbed the wrong one. So yeah, I like what was I playing just last couple weeks, just because I was so stressed, and it was a really good stress reliever. It was Overwatch. I played the Overwatch Open Beta. That was a lot of fun. I wasn't really sure what I was getting into. I really didn't know much about it, other than it was a Blizzard game, and Diablo, and that's the main game from Blizzard that I play. So I decided just to try this open beta, and wow, what fun! And it was just exactly what I needed. Nice, easy, not totally mindless, but relatively mindless, blasting away at other people, other avatars. So yeah, so we go through different periods of in our year. So it's good to have a few different hobbies anyway. This last week was particularly tough. Not so much at school. All the students had gone, so it was kind of weird and empty in the classrooms and in the hallways. It's kind of strange to walk in and not see anybody there. But we also had some, teachers have to take courses too, and I had some professional development on a very, very tough topic. Self-harm. Young people have do different things that are somewhat challenging to their bodies, and it's a very tough topic, but the guy who was presenting was really, really good. There we go. And I learned a lot, and I think I'll be a lot better able to help my students. And that's really what we're trying to do. Always trying to help our students. My school is a boarding school, so the students are there, and they really have us. That's about it. They don't really have. They have, well, there's other adults there, but they have teachers. That's a important role model for them and mentor. So whoa. All right. How am I doing here? Okay, not really going, so I think I probably just didn't quite get it turned back. Now, it's funny how it comes out so easily, but I haven't been successful getting it to go in that way. So I don't know. Yeah, it seems like if you get it just at the right angle, it'll slip right out. Anyway, but that's the other thing about this. To me, doing something like this is just pure relaxation. And really, I don't, I'm not in a rush to get this done. So how does it look? You know what? I think we've got that. I'm going to call it layer 4. All right. Well, that was pretty good. We got the first 4 layers done, and now it's time to add our 5th layer. And I think what we'll see now is that the spherical shape will become very, very clear after this, and then for subsequent layers it will start to close up. That's the goal. So let's see what we need to do here. We notice there's a flat part here, which should correspond to the this sort of rectangular flat edge. And then there are curvier pieces which should correspond to these curvy fan-shaped pieces, the wide fan-shaped piece. Now with those, they are associated with a rectangular track. So we're going to have rectangular faces, I think, over here. And well, let's just see how this plays out. So wide fan-shaped piece. Okay, and a rectangular piece, and somewhere in there there's also going to be a corner. Yeah, let's see. Well, let's see. This, I'm going to try and put this corner in here just to, and it's facing away, so it'll look like that. That looks like the right one. I'm just going to slip that on there and see how it works. Yeah, so that fits in quite nicely. And the wide fan-shaped piece is part of that. I know how this could work. I'll just put that on there. Okay. That means, I don't know if I, oh yeah, okay, now I got it. So now this goes together, and that means we need another corner there. Alright. And the pointy part of that corner points towards the tip of the fan-shaped piece. Okay, not so bad. I'm kind of doing things maybe just a little bit backwards here, just because it seemed to me, I was trying to figure out where the square, or sorry, where the rectangular rail would go. So the rectangular rail is going to go there, and I want to be careful I'm not boxing that in. I think I'm okay. So let's just try, let's see, I want to make a little room here. And now we have to think about this rectangular piece, and remember that the wide side is always facing the 10-sided face, and the narrow side is always facing the hexagonal face. But just to double check, what I can do is just hold it up, and we'll see that the wide side aligns perfectly with the two notches. So that'll be what we're going to do. Wide, so it's wide this way and narrow that way. Alright, and we have the narrow fan-shaped pieces there. So I have one that has to go, so I have to clip onto this. And you know, the easiest way I think is going to be to turn this mechanism here. I know it's there's not a lot holding that, but I think that's the right answer. And I want to sort of get access to this corner and slip it in that way. I think not really turning so well. Okay, not bad. It's just it just needs to be turned with basically two hands, not sort of freewheeling there. So I'm going to slip this in. Now the other part of that goes on top of that track, so I'm going to just muscle my way on there, and then we'll go back in place. Make sure everything's lined up. This is really quite nice. I think this is going to be the way this works. All right, I think that's enough for now. And oh no, okay, I'll yeah, because I want to keep filling out these pieces here. So let's see, how do we do this? All right, you know what? I'm just gonna do the same thing over here, but I'm gonna start here this time and go all the way around. I think that's probably a better way to do this. So in other words, I'm gonna put a corner on here. That's not the right corner. Okay, what am I doing wrong here? That's also not the right corner. I hope I didn't just put a wrong corner in that bin there. That could happen, I guess. Okay, I just randomly picked another corner from that bin and it fit, so I think I might have thrown the wrong corner in there. Oh well, it happens. So what do I need? I need a fan-shaped piece right there. A wide fan-shaped piece. And I'm just going to move this corner off. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm building in the right direction now. I think it's okay. I don't know if it really matters. Okay, so we got that. And what else can I do here? So this would be a good time to put a rectangular piece now. The wide side is going to go towards the 10-sided face, so that slips in there quite nicely. And we need a narrow fan-shaped piece to go right there. All right, let's see. So this is not really going to be very stable until I get this piece hooked in. There we go. And now it's actually pretty good. Okay, we want to put another one of those in there. Sorry. Okay, I just took out some other pieces that I just set aside here. Alright, and you know what? And I think I missed something. I think I'm going to have to put a corner in there. There we go. Okay, that's better. And then I'll just hook those together, and look at that. Nice. Okay, so what did I miss over here? I think I missed one of the sides, but that's okay. That's just, I'll get that next. So now this is where things might get a little challenging, because what goes over here, we're going to build this out, but I gotta be careful, because I think we need another we need a hexagon right here. I'm pretty sure, yeah, we're going to need a hexagonal piece right there. So, alright, well, so far not so bad. What goes there? It's one of the square pieces. There we are. And, how am I going to do this? Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this whole, not that part. Okay. Alright, that thing just fell right off. That's fine. Actually, we really want that on there, but basically what I want to do is I want to hook this square edge piece into this corner here. And with the wide side towards the 10, there we are. And then bring this all back. And I think we're okay still with this. Yeah, so there's a couple ways to do this. Just turn that out of the way, and then slide it back. There we are. Not so bad. Now the question is, no, I got one there, I got one there. Okay, I thought I might have missed one. So what will be here then is, let's see, what do we got? There's another one. So this will be one of the square faces. I have some pieces for the square face, large fan-shaped piece, couple of corners. Okay, and I have to sort of keep in mind that I may have thrown a wrong corner in that pile. So if I get a wrong corner, it might not be. I might just try again. Okay, so if I slip that on there, that's going to be great, but we also want to have one of these tracks. And the track is going to have to have the wide side. And you can see it, that the little posts line right up. So the wide edge is going to go in like that. And if I really wanted to, I suppose I could do a bit more assembly here. Maybe that's not a bad idea. The narrow, just because this whole thing can just be kind of assembled. So this is your narrow track. It goes on there, and if I wanted to, I could just assemble it that way. And what else? Could I actually assemble 90% of this? I wonder how that's gonna. We're just trying this and see. Again, this is probably a fairly unique part of the assembly process. But yeah, see, you don't want to do much more because it'll be awkward to fit in. As a matter of fact, I may have. Well, no, I thought I might have put a little too much. But it's kind of cool. Eh? Just put all those pieces together and boom, big chunk of the assembly done. Yeah, that's going to be the rest of the hexagonal, and yeah, another one right there. Alright, well, let's just keep going. Okay, wrong one. Whoops. Okay. Whoa. Okay, now I did throw a wrong corner in there, I think, so I'm just grabbed another one, and indeed, so now we know this one goes in that other bucket. Alright, not too bad here. I'm just trying to sort of see where I've gotten so far. Gonna be a narrow fan-shaped piece right there. So I'm just going to slip this in, and then this comes out. Rotate this corner until I can line these two pieces up, and then back together. Pretty slick. Okay. Now I got to remember that this will have a one of these rectangular tracks, so I can put the other piece on there, which is going to be the wide fan-shaped piece. Okay, and now I have to make sure I get that little rectangle in there. So the wide part of the rectangle is going to be facing the large face, the 10-sided face. Now, can I just kind of manhandle this whole thing in there? Person handle? You know what? That just doesn't sound right. Maybe that's why I shouldn't be using it. Let's see here. Oh, now I remember what I did. I'm going to turn this whole 10-sided face. Okay, and I'm going to put the narrow side in because that's what we're hooking into. And then when I turn the face back, the wide side will be. I'm just going to hold that with. Yeah, I'm trying not to obscure the view here, but I didn't want to risk. So wide side this way, narrow side that way, and now it's locked in fairly. It's still not perfect, but it's locked in there. And now I can put another corner and another one of these up here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Not sure if this is the right corner. Yeah, it is. And then another. Okay, pretty good, eh? Now, what else are we doing here? I think we need another hexagon. No, we don't need another hexagon there. Oh well, I'll just keep going. It's sort of, as long as you're careful about putting pieces where they belong, so alternating pieces, it should be pretty straightforward to figure out what is next each time. The trick is really to make sure that you sort of just understanding how they all fit together. Hopefully looking at the video and looking at the exemplars will help you to see how it has to proceed. Okay, so right here we need a hexagon. That's what I was trying to figure out, what what we need. Now notice here, and this does happen when you're assembling puzzles, I've somehow managed to get that's really kind of loose there. So if I was having big problems with that, I would just go ahead and tape it down or something, but so far it hasn't been an issue. And you know, sometimes parts do fall off of puzzles as you're assembling them, and it's fine. It just, I try not to get aggravated at it. So yeah, so there's going to be a hexagonal ring there, and we probably want to make sure we get those pieces in before I add too much more to that. So let's just do that. So flat and curved, lined up properly. And I was just able to pop that right in. It didn't really cause me too much difficulty. So now another. Okay. So that one's going to go in. That's the wrong one, but you know what? Let's just keep going because that's going to be the right one for that. Look at that. But I'm going to have to be careful about how I put that in there. I might not be quite ready for that yet. Alright, we tried. Yeah, the last time I did this, I think I assembled the whole thing, the whole piece. That's actually not bad. Let's try that again. Doing that whole thing again. Yeah, big fan shape. So that should just go like that. It's a big fan shape, and then there was a rectangular piece of track with the wide part that way. There's this one, and one issue I had was just trying to put too much at the same time. Well, let's see. And one more. All right, we'll see. It won't be a tragedy if I have to pull a piece back off of it. So that's this whole kind of sub-assembly here of the square face, and it should just slip right in there. Okay, just there you are. Yeah, that's nice, and it really made that all kind of solid now. All right, where are we headed here? I'm sort of losing track a little bit, I think, of where the starting place was. I think it's here, but yeah, it doesn't really matter, does it? We're just gonna keep going around, maybe like a coil, adding pieces as we come up to things. Let's see here. I could actually put the rest of that there. Large fan-shaped piece, 2 corners. And I'm pretty sure that's all I need for that. Okay, so that goes on. And now, you see what's going to have to go on there is one of the 10-sided rings. So I'm just going to move on a little bit here, maybe because we can put more pieces on there. So what's going to go on here? So it's just the other part of this hexagon. Yeah. You know what? Let's put another 10-sided ring in there. I don't know. That's it's too bad this didn't come with a manual. Oh wait, that's what we're doing here. Yeah, I actually, you know, as I say, I find this sort of thing fun. I can understand if people don't find it fun. So I got my 10-sided ring, and I'm just doing the curvy part. I'm going to slip that in there. Yep, there we are. Okay, just have to make sure everything's there. Okay, it's not great. Okay, and I'll just put the square edges on there. Call them square. They're actually not, but just, you know, they don't have a real obvious point to them. And it's going to be that way. Okay, I think I'm in that situation where I have 3 to hook in, but it's not bad. I can just, it's a little awkward, but I can just move this whole thing. Whoa, okay, almost took it right off. But that, you know, that happens, right? So I'm holding some of the puzzle with my offhand, and now I'm just going to slip this in here. Slip that one over it. There you go. That's not so bad. And that'll really help. We've seen that before. Those those sort of solid rectangular pieces really help solidify everything together. There we go. Okay, so what I'm trying to avoid here is having a situation where I have to, where I don't have a piece of open track that I can slip pieces onto, or if I have to try and, yeah, I have to try and hook pieces into multiple tracks at the same time. I'm trying to avoid that as much as possible. In the end, of course, we're going to come up to that. So I can actually finish this part off, and I think that will be another square face. Yeah, that's what it looks like, and that'll make this piece quite solid too. Now I just want to make sure well, we'll try it and see what happens then. So I need a wide fan shape. I need a corner that's the narrow part's going to point towards the narrow part of the fan shape. And before I put this corner on this other one, I'm going to put the 10. I'm going to put the rectangular track, and let's see, how's it going to go in there? So I think, well, let's just see what this looks like. Yeah, I think the wide side's going to go in there. And it should be pretty obvious because it won't really work well otherwise. But you see that the track, the bumps in the track correspond to those slots. If I had it the other way, it would be too narrow. And I'll show you another one. I'll hold it up, and you see it would just be too narrow. You could probably make it work, but it just wouldn't move smoothly. All right, so now if I just slip that whole thing on there, yeah, I think that'll work, and I think I can probably fit a narrow edge piece on there as well. We'll see. I think I've done this trick before, right, where I've assembled quite a bit of that square face separately. All right, let's see. The main thing when you're jostling things together is just to be patient and be gentle so that you don't break anything. There are spare parts. I'm not sure if they give us spare rings or not. I haven't actually counted. You'd think I would, but it shows you how busy I was before. Okay, so what happened here? I put that all on, and it's not correct. Oh, it's because it goes that way. Oh, okay. Oops. I've been sort of building it the wrong way, but you know what? This is fine because I can just turn this out and just sort of build. I can just build on there. So, for example, wrong. Oops. Okay, so that's good. And now another fan shaped piece. Oh, okay, that's what happened. I took two narrow pieces rather than two fan shaped pieces. Okay, there you go. And now I've got myself a tough corner to put in. I probably didn't really want to do that, but my option here is actually not so bad. I'm just gonna, I could pull these two pieces off and just clip them together and put it back on, or I can do this other thing. And this other thing is I'm going to put this all the way, whoops, okay, well, all the way here. Line it up nicely and then bring it all the way back. There you go. So yeah, you usually have a couple of different options to get something like this fixed up. I'm a little not sure how well that's sitting. Now it's possible that, yeah, I may have not squeezed it as tightly as possible. That's another thing, right? If you find some irregularity, you may just have to squeeze them a bit more. All right, well, this is really starting to come together, isn't it? All right, well, we're back with a new camera position and some more progress on the VTI, the Void Truncated Icosidodecahedron from Very Puzzle. So I think what we're going to need over here is probably another 10-sided track and some more pieces to go in here. So I think I'm just going to build out this area and see where we go. So what's this going to be? Remember, they alternate, so we'll need this sort of the rectangular edge piece here. Okay, this one shouldn't be so bad to clip in here. It has to go on that. Actually, I have to move this 10-sided. Maybe I spoke too soon. Okay, so all I need to do is just get enough of it that I can slip this in. And I can muscle that over top, or I could have put it back and then turn this whole section out. So another square face right in here, just to fill that part in. So what am I going to need? Actually everything. So two of the large fan shapes, rectangular piece, a couple of corners. Now this is going to be positioned. Oh, look at that. I had a bit of luck getting the corners. I'm going to put this, remember the wide part goes towards the large fan-shaped piece. And we know that because not only do the tracks line up, but it's also the part that's facing 10-sided face. Adjacent to this, opposite the 10-sided face. So we'll also need some narrow fan-shaped pieces which go on the sides here. And these ones just, whoa, push that out of the way. These ones clip in, and I can just kind of push that aside to, whoops. Or I can do it that way. There we go. That'll work. Alright. Let's... Really, seriously, I know how to do this. I don't know what happened. Oh, this... Okay, so this track is just kind of slipping around on me here. Alright, I'll get my act together. Okay, so now I'm going to move this corner out and then push them together. There we are. That's the way. And then this one as well. Same idea. Actually, I can go that way. Okay, so that went together fairly quickly, and then I can just go ahead and connect this right up. Okay, there we are. Alright, pretty good. Now I gotta be careful because we're going to need a hexagonal ring right there. And so yeah, I was looking at that and trying to figure out what I'm missing, and that's what I was missing. But it's actually not so bad as it looks, because this I can just move right out of the way. And so it's just a matter of popping that in there, and you see I was able to do that. There's still enough slack to be able to do it. I think as we get a little bit further along, it might be more difficult. So I've left myself this to do, which isn't too bad. We've done a few of those where I have 3 different places I'm trying to hook it into. So I want the narrow side to go into the smaller ring, and that's, I guess, an easy way to remember it. Alright, how am I going to do this? I'm going to turn this whole piece here. So by doing that, I get access to this slot on the side of the corner, and then I can just muscle that into place. There we are. So not so bad. That really went fairly quickly, as you can see. So let's see, how about doing the other side of that? I actually have one of these pieces left over. Fan-shaped edge piece. Won't take very long at all. Okay, I can hear some crows, sorry, ravens out there in my yard. It was spring and then we had some snow, so I don't know what happened. Okay, so there you go. That one's all put together. And what am I going to have to do here? I think there's going to be, yes, there's going to be a 10-sided ring right here, track. So I guess I could just go ahead and do that. Put that in. So I'm putting the curved part next to the curved edge piece. It's the large fan shape. Okay, I just almost made a mistake here with everything turned on me. Okay, so I'm going to have to let go of this with my... There we are. So I just was trying to hold this with one hand and didn't have enough hands left over. Alright, so now there's going to be one of the square type edge pieces in there, and we've been down this path before. And let's see. I'm going to turn that out. Whoa. Now I just want to make sure, I think I may have this wrong. Yeah, the wide end goes towards the wider face. Makes sense. Okay. We got it. And putting those pieces in really stabilizes this, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it in on the other side. So I think we haven't had to snap any pieces on there. I showed it once or maybe twice snapping of pieces in, but so far we've been able to slide everything on. And actually this is looking pretty symmetrical. I think I'll just keep going, and that's what I'm sort of trying to keep it more or less symmetrical. So clearly this is going to be another square face. So I can go ahead and put that in, and yeah, so I'll go grab the pieces for that. Oh, I see what's happened. I have 2 buckets of, I was wondering why I was running out of these fan-shaped pieces. I'm not quite sure why. Yeah, I had 2 buckets of these large fan-shaped pieces. That happened. Okay, and so I'm just going to fill in this because there's not really a lot holding that on there. So let's see, the fan shape, it's pointing towards the narrow part, and I'm just going to go ahead and put this in here, track, and there we are. And now a couple of the narrow fan shape pieces. Okay. Yeah, you may have noticed I usually go clockwise. I was bad there. I just went counterclockwise. There we are. And, you know, really, we could probably build out some more of that, but I think let's just stop there. Make it easier to attach to the puzzle. Just getting that first little bit locked on is the trick, and then it's fine. Okay, what have I done here? I think I did this same thing before. Yes, I did. Where I assembled it, but it was, yeah, those are the pieces that I really wanted. So I should have. All right, I'll get this. By the time this is over, I'll get it. So basically, I just have to put some more pieces on there. Not a big deal. All right. See if I can get this corner. And what else do I need to put on there? I need to put another large fan-shaped piece. Why not? See if I can just snap it in there. I can. Now, the problem that I've given myself is that now fitting this corner on is going to be a little more challenging, but not that bad. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get that to work. And there we go. So the big thing is to make sure that we have that track in there, because I think it would be possible to put all this together and forget to put the little square track, and then who knows, maybe the puzzle would just not turn quite as well. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going and trying to fill in as much as I can, keep it symmetrical. So what are we looking for here? So at the other part of this, oh, it's another square face right there, I think. Yeah, that's what it is. So, okay, this whole ring can turn. And I'll just snap that on. That wasn't too bad at all, eh? Okay, and now this is definitely going to be one of these squares. So, okay, see if I can get this right. Hand-shaped piece. Well, I'm just laying out some pieces here so that okay, so the wide part towards the large fan-shaped piece. I apparently very puzzled was going to come up with some sort of assembly video or something. That's what they said. As far as I know, it's not there right now. Or maybe enough people will be making assembly videos that it just won't matter. Really kind of hard to say. Okay, now, yeah, I'm only going to do part of this just to make it easier to do this next part. Whoop. Alright. Okay, just a little bit of misalignment there. Let's try and figure out why this. Okay. And who knows, it could be just like a foot that's not quite formed right. Never know. They do give us some extra pieces if we have any problems. Okay, well that's not bad. I think I want to be careful what goes in there. Actually, I might be able to do the rest of that. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I knew it. Okay, yeah, we need a hexagonal ring in there. That's the other one. You want to make sure that you have all the tracks. So it goes there. Yeah, okay, this shouldn't be too bad anyway. So I'm going to move this part out of the way. Notice I've moved two pieces out of the way now. Not bad. So we got that, and now I think I can just slip that in there, and indeed I can. When I turn this back, it already solidifies everything, and then when I turn that in, it just locked right in there. Okay, great, that wasn't too bad at all. So I can put another piece in there. Okay, now thinking about it, the large end has to go towards the larger face. And snap it on there. Okay. Not so bad. Yeah. So I'll finish off this part and see where that leads us. So I'm just going to need a wide fan shaped piece, 2 corners. So okay. There. And you can see that face turns right away. Now, so what's going to happen here, that's going to be attached to a 10, yeah, going to be attached to a 10-sided face, right like that. So let's go ahead and get that taken care of. Yeah, this would be a nice little, maybe a little project for more than one person. It would be maybe a little easier, I'm not sure. More than one person following these, trying to put things together and reading off the handing pieces and holding stuff. I don't know. But would two people working on the puzzle just get in everybody's way? There we are. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that helps quite a bit on that side. And again, it's the larger end goes towards the larger face. There we are. Wow. Okay, so that's actually looking pretty stable. Okay, so I've decided that I think this thing is not really going to be symmetrical no matter what I do. Okay, and I've now gotten quite far ahead of myself on one side here, so we'll just have to make a square face. So let's see, that's going to have, is it a square face? Yeah, fan shape, narrow fan shape. Okay, narrow fan shape. Not so bad. Oh, look at that. Now I gotta put the narrow side, and you know, if you can just sort of line it up and see that it's the narrow, but the narrow fan shape is aligned with the narrow side of things, so it's there. But you know, I could go a little more. I think we can put a little bit more. We need a wide fan shape, so why not put it on here and see if we can just put it all together in one go. Okay. Oops. Okay. And yeah, I think we're pretty far in there, so I'll try the other thing. I don't want to build too much at a time because I know I'll have trouble linking them together, but I think I think I can get away with this fairly well here. Now let's see what happens. Okay, it's on. It's on. It's on. There we go. Oh, all right. But no, that's all right. Just one piece left over there. Not too bad. Alright, well, as a matter of fact, let's just go ahead and do that. That looks like a square one. And square one. Oh, actually, what have I done? Yeah. And it's going to go that way. And I think I'll just pop it on there. Yeah, there. Alright, I've left myself a corner. That maybe wasn't what I should have been doing, but anyway. Okay, that's not going on there smoothly, so I'm just going to assume it's the wrong corner. Okay, now I'm having trouble getting it back off. Wow. It's stuck. It's attacking my... Okay, I don't want to pull too hard here. What I'm going to do is just turn this and then just slide it off. There we are. Okay, so that wasn't the right corner. Let's try this one. Yeah. Okay, well, it's sliding better. Okay, so now I have to hook this part together. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn that. And okay, that's not going to work. Okay, let's try this again. I think I should have gone this way. There we are. That's the way. And then we'll go back and, oh, that's going to be perfect. All nice and solid in there. Alright, and keep on going. I don't know what layer we're on. I think the concept of layer has kind of gone away here. I'm going to put this narrow edge piece here. So my main concern is just forgetting one of the tracks, because that would be harder to fix. Not impossible, just awkward to fix. So I'm going to go around and make sure I have all the tracks in. It should be pretty obvious. It'd be a group of pieces just hanging out there. Okay, and now I'll go ahead and put that corner in there. Okay, which one's it going to be? That one? Probably not. Okay, and now what we can do is just move that whole ring. Not so bad. Okay, well, getting there. So let's see, I gotta finish that, and we definitely need a hexagonal ring in here. So how am I going to do this? Okay, so I just sort of backed off the two adjacent faces, and that was enough to get that slipped in there. And we have the square pieces to do. Done that so many times now. It's old hat. Old hat. Okay, whoop, a bit more. Okay, now on this side, it's an unusual one. I think I just sort of forgot to finish that one when I was on the other side of it. Yeah, right on. So let's see what to do next. Well, it's pretty clear there should be another one of these, probably right there. So yeah, let's just go ahead and finish off that side of that hexagon. Okay, I'm a little concerned about, I'm just going to put this over here. What am I going to do? Yeah, okay, that's better. I don't want so much pressure on that one ring. Okay, so what do we need? Wide fan shape. Okay, well, that didn't. Okay, I was right the first time. That's kind of funny. Okay, so I can go ahead and put that on. Yeah, I think I will. I'll just go ahead and put it on there. We do have to get a ring, 10-sided ring going here. I think that's not going to be so difficult because okay, that screwdriver is not helping at this point. Okay, there we are. Okay, so ring kind of flopping around, but that's okay. Ooh, I've got, notice I've got quite a bit here that I didn't get to. I think it'll be okay though. I think it'll be fine. I'm gonna put one of the square edges in there. Funny ants. Okay, so that's that part, and we also need a square edge over there. Now this I didn't really, I've been sort of letting this part slide here, so let's see. It'll be fine. Okay, I'm not really sure why it's doing that. Oh. Okay, something was just out of line on the other side. It had slipped out. Okay. So that's good. There's still more to be put in there though, but I think I can, well, let's see. So now I need a corner. Well, I don't know. Yeah, so really wasn't as bad as it could have been. But I think I should have built more over there. And while we're here, let's just go ahead and put a corner because I know we're going to need one. I guess one possibility would get unhooked by chance over here, and then you could either run it back and fix it up, or run it forward and hook it back on. Okay, and another square should be like that. Yeah, so somewhere along the way I think I just kind of got a little too far in one direction, but it doesn't seem to have really hurt anything. Don't want to build myself into a corner and have to take drastic measures. Okay, that's good. Now I'm trying not to put too much pressure on these pieces down below here. But it unfortunately won't sit. Oh, there we go. Okay, well now it's sitting. So what I've done is sitting on one of the larger faces. Yeah, put a narrow edge in there. Narrow fan-shaped edge. Okay, I think I'm going to have trouble doing this from a different direction now. It's kind of funny. Now, keep in mind that that's going to have a have a rectangular track put in there. Well, this is quite the production, isn't it? But I think at this point, it's just, I think this is pretty straightforward for the most part. Just got to sort of keep our wits about us. Maybe not lose track of things. That to me is sort of happens when I'm doing a big project like this, and that's where the mistakes can creep in. Okay, so well, that worked out pretty well. So we have that, and I see, yeah, it's sort of, okay, so we see this part here, and I think that's going to be another square. So let's go ahead and build that square. It's going to be a large fan shape. Whoops, I don't know what I was going for there. Okay, large fan shape. Corners and a rectangle. So since I'm doing the well, actually, oh, okay, I almost made that mistake. I've made a couple of times. So this is a large fan shape. So it actually, I've got it off just a little wee bit. Whoop. I'm gonna put the large edge of the rectangle towards that. And what I really meant was I needed a small fan shape right up there, and I might as well go ahead and put the corner on. I think I'm okay with that. Is that right? Doesn't look quite right. Let's try another one. Okay, that's better. So this is what we're filling in right here, and actually. Yeah, I'm just going to put what I've got so far, because otherwise I'll get too far ahead of it. Okay, so that's what I've got, and now I'll just fill in the rest of it with the whoa. Hook that over. Okay, and I've kind of gotten myself into a bit of trouble there. I gotta fit both of these pieces in. What I think I'm gonna do is just turn it where it belongs, and then I'll just move these pieces out of the way to hook in that last narrow edge right there. So I've just kind of gotten myself into a bit of a predicament here, but oh, look at that. And as long as I can just muscle this one over the lip of the track, it won't cause any problems. There you go. Well, I think did I muscle, or did I? Yeah, I think I muscled. Okay. So you can imagine as you're building this, and when you get to the end, if you have even one of these is not fully over, properly seated, it could maybe cause some turning problems. So that would be something to do after it's all done, is to go around and make sure everything's hooked together and properly down. Make sure they're all squeezed together properly. The screws are all tight, or as tight as they need to be. I don't know if I'm going to have to do anything with the corners. They seem to be okay the way I got them, not super tight. So this is the process here, and as you see, the process is moving along. I am a bit disoriented because I've been working kind of this way so far. So let's just try that. I see a lot of these ones I think are the ones I want to work on. Where, yeah, see, we're getting kind of far into that. So the solution there is a square face. Okay, the narrow face. I mean narrow, the narrow edge piece. Hook that in on the narrow side of things. Okay, so that's going to go in there, and I think I can still put some more stuff on this, like the wide fan shape there, and I can probably do the same thing to the other side. Oops, grab the wrong one. Okay. And then that really came out really nice. Just solidified that. So how does this look if I sort of put it, I don't know if there's an actual, maybe that's the bottom. Yeah, let's just keep going here. So every once in a while I get one that just, yeah, so I don't know what that was about. Oh, try it again. So I'm actually, there we are. Yeah. So we got that one. And just trying to think what's going to go here. We need a we need another one of these hexagonal rings right there. Okay, so this is where things are. All right, there you go. Put it with the curved part on. Okay. Okay, now technically speaking, I could probably go ahead and put a corner on there if I had one. Yeah, that's the right corner. That corner is really, really loose. Some of the corners had a bit of a flash on the, oops, no, that's not the right one anyway. Some of the corners had a little bit of flash on them, and I think when I tightened them, it might have tightened against the flash, not the actual corner. Don't know. Okay, so that's not so bad there. I actually putting that corner on probably didn't help any. Alright, well, coming along. Yeah, that corner is just not gonna, it's just gonna be more in the way than anything. Okay, well, just this last little bit to go, and let's see how that's gonna work out. Okay, well, last little bit to do here. It's kind of this little maybe oval shape here, and I think the strategy I've been following so far seems to be working reasonably well. I can see I need to put a hexagonal piece in there, so I'll go ahead and do that, and just gonna keep following the process that's worked well so far. Now, at the very end, it might be challenging to get some of these pieces hooked together, so we'll see how that goes. But it won't be that many pieces that have any kind of special handling, so to speak. Oh, I guess I probably should have kept that one. So I'm just turning that whole face. It turns reasonably well. Bit of friction. I think for a puzzle like this, I want it to, I want the smooth turning, but I think I want the friction. I definitely don't want pieces turning sort of on their own if I move the puzzle around. So I'm kind of, I'm getting kind of jazzed about the way the faces are turning already. All right, because I think it's just going to be the right level of tension on there. Not a lot you can do tensioning these. You could loosen the edge pieces or tighten or loosen the screws on the feet, and that's about it. One of the things would be you could probably get the feet a little tighter with a washer underneath those screws, but that's a lot of work. There are a lot of screws on here, and I would be very reluctant to do that with a mechanical, like an electric screwdriver to turn those screws. I did them all by hand, just because there's clutches on those types of screwdrivers are not that sensitive for such a delicate assembly, and it's so easy to strip the feet. Okay, so what I'm doing, I want to move this up, but there's just a little wee bit of alignment issue here. Something's just not quite lined up. There we go. And yeah, just gotta kind of be gentle with things, I guess. Okay, that one flips over there. So far, so good. All right, and now there'll be another one of those square faces, so I'll get that going. So. I'm going to see the number of pieces dwindling here. Okay, so that one is against the large ring, so it's going to be the wide face. Yeah, really starting to use up all the pieces. There we are. So there's that one. Where else are we going here? Okay, so this whole 10-sided face really needs to be built out, so I'll do that. So need the other half of that square face narrow. Yeah, I'm just pretty happy to be finished up this very busy school year, and miss being in school, in the classroom, but it's I definitely looking for a break, looking for a little bit of rest. Now last year in the summer I taught, and so that sort of kept me busy for some of the summer, but this year I don't have anything lined up. That course that I taught, they're not running that particular one this year. Maybe next year. There we go. And so I kind of deliberately didn't sign up for anything else. I didn't try to find anything else to do, because I think I'm just looking for a rest. Okay. All right. I'm gonna turn this over just because I think it's a little easier for me to go from this angle. Now this is all looking a little bit okay. I see basically there was just a little bit of alignment issue here. Sort of would expect that as the puzzle's still in flux. Okay, so there's that one, and then see, so once I got everything aligned, it started working quite nicely. There we are. Okay, so one of those, that's your hex. Okay, yeah, so I haven't put a hexagonal track in there, so I gotta go ahead and do that. And I think what I'll do is I'm pulling this one down, and my choice here is just that it's closer to me and I can do it with my working hand. That's really the only factor in that decision. I could have moved the other parts. There we are. So now that one's in there. Put another square face there with a wide So I haven't seen anyone, I haven't seen anything about people putting together the new Tutminx. I'm really jazzed about this VTI, but the new Tutminx is really probably just as jazzed about that. But I haven't seen anyone actually put any doing any assemblies or anything. I haven't seen any assembly videos on this one, but I didn't really look. I saw some photos though, which were kind of very helpful on the Twisty Puzzle Forum. And some complaints about bad turning, but I really, I'm wondering. Some of these parts are so similar. I am kind of wondering what that's going to turn out to be, whether it's really bad turning or just an issue with getting some parts kind of in there. Whoops, just like I just about did here. getting some parts in that are kind of not quite oriented properly, because there's a couple of those little pitfalls that you could easily run into. This rectangular track would really mess things up if you had one or two of those off. And the hexagonal tracks, it is possible, trust me, I know, to assemble one of these and with it being out of step. The hexagon track being turned one step wrong. And just as you're putting it together, it's not that obvious, but certainly it would affect turning drastically, dramatically, significantly, some superlative like that. Okay. Well, I'm not really sure what I just did there. It didn't seem to have closed that gap much. It probably did. Okay, let's just keep on going along here. Right along here. So what do we need? I need some. Need a narrow. So I'll have lots of time to work on my puzzles this summer. I'll have lots of time to do other things, take photos. There are some video games coming out that I am kind of interested in playing. Okay, so this is going to be a square face right here. And yeah, I think we're at the point now where we can just safely just kind of slap parts on here willy-nilly. What do you think? No? Okay. I think that corner, I think I got ahead of myself on that corner right there. Oh well. So yeah, so video games. Definitely No Man's Sky. Got the pre-order in for that. Pretty interested to see how that's going to turn out. Yeah, I'm just alright. Well, I'm going to have to put a corner on there from a long distance away. You know what? I'm not. I'm just going to do it this way. Alright, I'm not going to be defeated by this puzzle. That's can you imagine? Just haven't even solved it yet or stickered it. So okay, that's better. What did I do here? I don't even know what I just did. Yeah, that should, okay, that's right. And now that one goes on there. I think I'm losing the recipe. Probably been, yeah, that's good. And then really I should do the same thing. So much for working clockwise. I don't know what I was thinking here. Yeah, I should. Okay, so one of the things I could do is just take this whole piece and move it all the way out there. However, I should be able to kind of shortcut that a little bit by turning this face. And then clipping that is on there. That's better. Oh, almost lost a pile of pieces. They'd go flying. Alright. And now I have a corner to put in. And I'm not entirely sure if that's the right corner or not. But we'll find out. Okay, well that's a good sign that it actually goes on there. Yeah, so it's actually going on there. So now the way to get this back in is to turn this face. I want to turn this out of the way so I can move this back in. Now it's harder to do than it would normally be on the puzzle because the face is not entirely it's not complete, so it's got a lot of flex to it. There we are. Okay, and that's starting to look really good here. I don't know what I did there. I seem to have gotten a bit ahead of myself, but you know what? I'm just going to keep going around this way. Why not? Narrow. Can definitely see that the number of pieces I have left are dwindling. What did I do here? Okay, I'm pretty sure. Trying to think of what could be going wrong here. I'm sort of. Oh, I think it's all right. Oh, no, it's not. Yeah, I knew something was up. we need a ring right in there, so that's not going to be easy. That will do it. We'll do it. Okay, I'm going to take these pieces off just as an assembly, and that means I can turn that out of the way. So now we just have the two that we're trying to hook in. That shouldn't be too bad. There we are. So that goes back. And then this goes back. Oh no. Yeah, this is what happens when I get ahead of it. And see what we got, a whole bunch of stuff to fix, but that's okay. We've had one of these before where there was a lot of pieces to add sort of between a couple of rails. It's actually not that bad. Okay, so that's in there good and solid. So that's one thing. So it's just a matter of getting everything in here that has to go. And you know what? It's really not that bad at all, because this whole thing, this whole face will rotate once I get everything aligned. So we can just kind of put everything that we need in there. You see? And it's, again, this is not a sign of problems turning the puzzle. This is a sign of the fact that I'm turning that one face. It doesn't have a lot attached to it to keep it lined up. Okay, so I'm going to turn this edge right out, or corner right out as far as I can go. There we are. Okay, and now I will continue building that up. So what do I need? Square. Oh, just a bit more. There we are. Okay, wide side of things. Okay, that one's on. Gonna need a corner. Gonna need a different corner. Okay. Okay, not so bad. Alright, now I can start turning this back in, and you'll see why when I get this down a bit. Okay, so what I can do, so the next thing I'm going to need is a large fan-shaped piece. I'm just going to try snapping it on, and if that doesn't work, then I can, yeah, snapping it on worked, so not a deal. Another corner. Okay, what I was going to do is just move this piece out of the way, but that's fine. Okay, so that was not bad at all, right? It was not the ordeal it could have been. Some other puzzles could sort of have some very hard time catching up like that. And then everything's just good here. Wow, getting towards the end. So now we should have another square base in there. So let's build that. Now, oh boy. Okay, let's see, narrow side. Narrow side there, and then sorry. Yeah, I know how loud those are when they fall like that. So that went on quite nicely. Okay, what else? That one. So now, yep. I don't know. I don't really have a good, really good insight as to what will be better. Actually, I see that we will need some hexagonal piece over here, so maybe I should work on that. Yep. I guess it will be, where is it going to be? Right there. Okay. So what I've done before for this sort of situation is I'll move the adjacent edge out of the way. This one's a little trickier because there's not this ring isn't complete face, but there you go. All I need to do is get at that. Just need to get under there, and I just want to make sure. I'm going to hold this up so you can see what I'm working on here. I want to make sure that there's a continuous, that the track is continuous on this side. So I want to line them up before I turn the face back, so that corner goes over top. And so now that corner has got a hold of the track. Okay. Alright, well that one went in fairly well. Another square face there, I think. So that's going to be a large fan shape. Okay, I just happen to have some corners kind of sitting in here. So we're going to put the wide side towards the large fan shape. So that goes in there, and then we'll have a narrow fan shape here. See if I can just snap this over. Yeah, that worked. And what else? I'm just going to put that amount on there. Okay, so that's how it goes. And now I can go ahead and put that other narrow fan shape on there. There we are. Okay. Just closing things up here. So we'll finish those. Yeah, I can sort of see this round part kind of evolving here. This, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the last. You see the last. There it is. I think it's going to be like that. So the last one of these rings. So let's just. How would we do this? Should we try to put this ring in and then fill in the hexagonal rings as at the end? That might be a little easier. Yeah, I think so. Okay, well, let's give it a go. Yeah, I don't, there's no real right or wrong here. I think right is whatever gets you to have the finished product. Okay, so the idea then is that I'm going to have to sort of put this ring on here and then just kind of work with what I got, and actually I can build a few more pieces on here. I think that might actually be correct thing to do. So that's going to be square. Yeah. Oh, getting in the way here. Okay, another large. Okay, so what I'm counting on is being able to just kind of thread this whole thing on once I got it put together. Oops. Okay, so this is what I'm going for right here, this whole thing. Okay, large fan shape. So yeah, so basically pretty well using all of the techniques from the build so far. And so that's what it's going to look like. Let's see. Nope, that's not what it's going to look like. That. Okay, so maybe just a couple more pieces and then we'll call it good. Actually, there are only a few more pieces on here. Okay, I just cheated that one over. Okay, so that's the whole thing. That's what it should look like. So let's see if my theory was right, that this whole thing's gonna go together. Whoop. There we are. Okay, that one edge is kind of loose. Once it gets together, it'll be fine, but whoop. Oh, I was pulling on it from the other side. That's kind of funny. Okay, so far so good. Okay, well, that's exactly what I was looking for. Wow, I'm very happy with the way that went. And I'll just go ahead and put that one last square edge piece on there. Because really, no matter what happens after this, we can fill in the detail there if we need to. Just got to close this, and it's obvious there's one more hexagonal ring, and there are two more of the square rings in there. So let's go with a narrow and okay. Oop. Okay, so that's the other half of that. Actually, oh, okay, yeah, that is the other half of that. All right, well, I'll go ahead and put that on there. Okay, that's a little tight, but I think we'll be okay. It's just everything has to get worked in. All right. Now some of these. I think I'm gonna try this side here. Oh, yeah. Don't mind me. It's just. Sometimes you sort of lose the forest. What is it? You lose the forest for the trees? How's it go? You get the forest? I don't really know. So I'm going to go ahead and put this square, this rectangular track with the narrow side there. Now, it's getting a little tight in there, but let's try the large fan shape on this side. Yeah, I think that should work. As a matter of fact, that we might even be able to get a corner, but let's just try that. Not a lot of working room here. Okay, that worked. So now it's a matter of getting the other large fan shape over here. Just hook that over. Okay, that took a little bit of wiggling. Okay, now got to remember that this has got to go in there as well. So, matter of fact, see if I can fit that in there right now. Okay, that's it. And I might have dislodged that a little bit. Yeah, I did. So that's something to keep in mind, that could happen. And now we have some edges to put in, square edges. Okay, so square edge like that. And what I'm going to do is just going to turn this whole thing out and attach as many pieces as I can. And it's funny, this piece is kind of flopping around here. It won't once I get this on. Okay, so now we can go there and corner. Oh, this is really really cool. Okay. And now I need to have another one of those narrow edges right on there. And I'll just cheat it over if I can. Yep, there we go. Brute force method. Okay, so what's next? Another of these, another corner and another of these square rectangular edges. Okay, that's not it. Okay, I'm having my problems here. Oh. Yeah, I am having my problems. Don't really. And it's alright. It's only took 17 tries. That's not bad. Okay. And just gotta kind of put it on there. And now to hook it on, I'm just gonna turn it back. I had to put it on from that direction because I didn't have any room. There we are. And that's actually I'm pretty happy with that. There's just that one square edge piece I have to, this is the whole ring here. And that's actually turning pretty well. Well, look at this. I'm seeing a very interesting looking shape at the end, which I would assume is going to have one of these sitting just like that. So now, how do I do this? Well, let's just try the strategy that's been working all along. Okay. Right, so that's the narrow side of things here. Okay, now the issue here is that now there's no actual gap to use, right? All the pieces have formed a gap. So how am I going to snap this on? I might not be able to actually snap it on, especially the edges. But maybe, let's see here. Because if I turn this, see, we've made a little opening here. So, did I say especially the edges? I meant especially the corners, because they're not amenable to being snapped on anything. Whoa. Okay, that wasn't quite the way I had planned to do it, but it did work. And so now I can turn this ring back just a little bit. It wasn't much, and then actually put it to where I had intended it to go there. So okay, that's a proof of concept, isn't it? Right? Because this ring is not a solid track, so I can make those kinds of gaps. Worst case scenario is I have to take apart a couple of edges and corners and snap everything on there. Let's just see how far we can get with this approach. So now I need two of these wide things, and we're kind of coming at this from, let's see, if I turn this face right here, it should create a gap. It's this face I'm trying to turn. There we go. Well, it did create a gap, but I'm not seeing much. You know, we might just be at the end of the line here as far as slipping pieces together. I don't know that there's really much else. Yeah, because everything else is kind of a solid piece. All right, well, let's try this one more time. I'm going to try this, but you know, I don't want to waste a lot of time trying to put it together. That the right answer here would just be to take a couple pieces apart and. Yeah, you know what? I think that's pretty much the best I can do at this point. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this two fan-shaped pieces. I'm going to take my screwdriver and just very, very gently going to pry them apart. Now, if I did break something here, it would be, I do have some spare pieces. Every kit will have about 10% extra pieces. Okay, so now it should be fairly straightforward to get that in. Now, it's not going to be super easy because I still have to get the bottom part in. But the thing about it is that I'm only doing one part at a time, so it's not quite as. Okay, and then I will just squeeze that on there. Okay, these are a lot easier to assemble when they're not on the puzzle for sure. Okay, there we go. And then I can just squeeze that as tight as I can. Okay, so that worked. I'm going to put this all back. And I know we're going to leave the corners, but the corners are, I'm just going to have to screw them screw them in there. Oops, alright, well. And then this one, it's kind of the same idea. Basically, I have to get enough of this to just be able to get under there. I'm not quite sure why I was able to do... Oh, I see why. Okay, so there's still a bit of hope here as I can move this way. There we go. So I'm going to put the... Remember, the wide side will go towards the ring. And since I don't need anything else here while I'm at this spot, I can go ahead and, whoa, snap it together. Okay, and that's actually going to be fine, just like that. There we go. All right, well, that was a little awkward, but it worked. And what I will have then is one more of these things, which is going to be narrow, and then 2 corners. And I think that, so I'm going to take apart one of the narrow corners. Oh, okay, I didn't actually have to take that apart. I'm going to point this out, even though I made a mistake. It's kind of funny. So this edge piece, I didn't have to take it apart at all. It just sits on there. It's fine. So now I'm going to take 2 corners, and I'm going to just use the fact that I can take this edge piece out quite easily, just to identify. No, it's the other one. So I don't want to have to mess around trying to figure out which side is which. Okay. So I'm going to set that on there, and then the idea is that I will just take this apart with my screwdriver gently. Now, it's really not great to be unscrewing and rescrewing one of these, so ideally I would have left a couple, but like unassembled. But you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's not bad because we do have extras. It's just probably better not to only screw them together once. That's what I'm saying. All right, and then I'm just going to snap that down. So that's good right there. Now you're going to say, well, what about, how am I going to get that, screw that in there? Okay, so what I have here is a jeweler's screwdriver with a fairly extendable handle. It actually will collapse down, and I have it out as far as it'll go. And then a proper bit for it. So this is going to work. Now the only question is, how do I approach it? And it's really just a matter of me looking for visibility. If I can get my fingers in there, and I think I can, then I will just do it probably from the top, because it's easier. Now, in the past, I've actually made a little tool out of a paper clip. Just sort of bend a paper clip to be able to kind of hold the screw in there. Okay, so I have my screwdriver all set, and I'm just going to go sideways so that nothing falls apart, and everything's fine now. Okay, and now I'm just going to move so that we're more perpendicular to the piece. And again, my standard for this is just to screw it until it just reaches the collar. Now, unfortunately, I think this screw hole is stripped, and that was one of the concerns I had. I don't think it's going to matter as long as it holds, but that is something when you take one of these apart. That's a risk when you put it back in. If you know, it's possible to strip the screw hole. They give you lots of spare pieces, so it's not a big deal. But all right, and last but not least, the last piece. Make sure everything's lined up. It just popped out of there. I was trying to line up this ring so that I'm not going to tighten it on the wrong spot. Okay, and when you look in there, you'll see that these sort of leaf-shaped pieces are all pointing at each other. So it gives you an idea of how that should go. So there's where the last screw has to go. I'll put that in there. And now it's a matter of, of screwing it in. So if we did have problems with that, because that screw came out and then had to go back in, I would just change the piece. You could always put a little bit of, you could put some super glue down there and then put the screw in if you really wanted to. There's lots of ways to fix that. I don't think it's a big deal because these corners they kind of hold things together, but there's not a lot of forces put on them. So there's not a lot of forces to pull them away from the face, I don't think. Okay, so now I've got the screw in, and I'm just basically going to do what I did the last time, which worked. You know, if it worked before... Okay, and then that one tightened just fine. So yeah, so I'm not really concerned about the fact that one of them might have stripped a little bit. Not a bad stripping. You know what? That is done. That is the VTI, the Void Truncated Icosidodecahedron, and it is all together and all assembled. And as you see, we have a few extra pieces, an extra hexagonal, a couple of the 10-sided, quite a few edge pieces. So there are some pieces you're going to have left over. If you have any problems at all, piece looks dodgy, you can go ahead and switch it out. So this is how we're going to be turning the pieces, like that. And you see that these are much like the original Tutminx. They have an orientation, and then the big 10-sided, right? And it's fine, right? It's turning fine, no lube whatsoever. So the next step, and this will be another video, will be to sticker this. And the puzzle comes with some factory stickers, which is fine. I went ahead and got some stickers from Oliver. This is where I got my stickers, oliverstickers.com. Okay, here it is. So I don't know how much breaking in I'm going to do. I'll probably try to turn each face at least once to make sure that everything's in working order, and then once I do that, I'll clean it all off with a lint-free rag. I'll put my stickers on, and then I will see if I need any lube. Probably a little bit of lube will help, but it doesn't seem like it's going to need a lot because it's moving fine as it is. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. This has been a long time coming, and I've been yeah, I've had this sitting here, and I've been so busy and stressed. It's just really, really nice to finally get this thing put together. Well, that's it for this build of the Void Truncated Icosidodecahedron from Very Puzzle. I'm really happy with it, and I can't wait to sticker it and try and solve it. As always, I appreciate any feedback, your questions, your suggestions. What do you think of putting together a puzzle like this? Now that you've seen it done, do you think it's something you want to try? Or would you rather just get one already assembled? Let me know in the comments, and any other thoughts you have about this. So look for my stickering video pretty soon, and until next time, thanks for watching. Alright, well, welcome to the bonus content. So here I am going to do what I really didn't do all that well in the at the end of the assembly video. I really didn't show the turning, and this is the unlubed puzzle, and it's actually, you know, it's not bad. It will definitely improve with a bit of lubrication. And it just but for the most part, I think it's really quite nice. Now, one of the things I've noticed is that, and I even asked Mr. Lee about this, the Void Tutminx came with a turning tool, and I found it very useful and very helpful to turn the faces. And I asked him if he was going to have one for this, but he said no. And I've been looking at the possibilities. I think the hex faces, the old tool will work well on it. The 10-sided faces, you can see that they turn reasonably well just by hand. The challenge, I think, will be these square faces, and I don't know that you could really get a tool. It would have to be fairly small, and then I'd be a little bit concerned about how much force it was putting on things. But the one thing about these square faces is they're turned in 180-degree increments. So, you know, maybe they'll smooth out and get a little easier to turn after a while. Yeah, it's really not bad. It's just hard to, maybe just a little bit hard to grip the thing. But I've been all around this puzzle and I haven't found anything that really caused me concern. All the faces are turning about equally. There are no serious catches, and there's nothing that's overly loose. So, you know, I won't really have to do much as far as adjusting this. I think once I get the stickers on, then it'll be perfectly fine. I'll put a little bit of lube and then just break it in, probably by scrambling it. I haven't even thought about how this is going to be to solve. I'm just sort of will guess it'll be similar to the Tut Minx. It's a very shallow cut puzzle, so it's not going to be too hard. There might be some algorithms to come up with due to the different face types, but I think it's just going to be more of a fun puzzle than really a brain munching puzzle. So since this is bonus content, let me show you what I got from Oliver's stickers. These are the custom VTI, this is the custom VTI sticker set, and this will be my next thing. So you're getting a little sneak peek at the stickers that I got from Oliver's, and I actually haven't even taken a look at these yet. So there you go. Those you and I are seeing these for the first time. Okay, I'm gonna take that's a little bit of scrap that just was sort of knocked loose, I guess, in the long trip from Hungary. So these are from Oliver's, and you can see that he gives you quite a few different shades, and you know, the idea is, for me anyway, to pick out ones that my visual system can distinguish between. Right, and so that's fine. It doesn't really matter how many shades you get of each thing. So these are for the square faces and the hexagons. So we see that, and all different colors. You know, I won't use the black, but he puts them in there in case somebody comes up with a black puzzle. I love these metallics. Really hard to tell. This is a matte silver, and I love these sticker sets. Wow, look at that. That's a neon pink. All sorts of great colors, and they do get the brighter colors tend to get a little darker when you put them on the puzzle. That's the one thing I've noticed about all of our stickers, and the quality is just phenomenal. I can't appraise it enough. I've never had a problem with Oliver's stickers. So these, and it's maybe a little challenging to see them, but these are the 10-sided. So a kind of a disco pattern. This is a I actually have a cube in this, and I actually call it a disco cube. But yeah, it's a metallic glitter kind of thing. And I know it looks really bold right now. And whoa, a flake pattern. It looks really bold right now, but I think that remember that all you're covering is just this part of it. And I guess yeah, just that part. So you know, it's not going to be this sea of glitter. It's just going to be a nice ring, a halo of glitter. So I think it's going to look really good when it's done. I can't wait to see what it looks like. So that'll be my next thing, my next little project, and I'm going to video it that. I'm not sure what a video of me stickering the void truncated Icosidodecahedrons going to look like, or how people are going to enjoy watching it or not, but I'll try and do something. So that's it for the bonus content for the VTI assembly, and yeah, so stay tuned to my channel for the next update on this beast. Thanks for watching.